whole task one is comprising of three assessment criteria of LO1 and one assessment criteria of LO3. So first we will be doing that, and then we will be completing this part of the LO1 that was 1M1, and then according to task 2. I made my slides according to task wise so that it gets easier for you when you are going to recall everything. Analyze the risk related to financial business decision. First, we will be focusing on the command verb, which is analyze, which is talking about negative, positive impacts, and in detail explanation. With that, the question is asking about the risk, mitigated risk, or the challenges which are associated when we take the decisions based on finance.
Mm.
This is the abbreviation of the complete analyze word. All the points are from your indicative content. Analyzing the risk related to financial business decision is crucial for making informed choices that safeguard the financial health and sustainability of an organization. So what it means, when we're talking about the risk associated with the decisions, we're also talking about the health of the business, the budget, the different statements associated with it, and with that sustainability as well, that how prolonged will the organization is going to sustain in the market, in the industry. Final decisions encompass various areas, each carrying its own set of risks. Every component has its own challenges and the benefits too. Because in the below slides, we will be using the word mitigation. What it means the action of reducing the severity, seriousness, or negative impact of something. Whenever we use the word mitigate, mitigation, it means we have to curb the problem with a solution. It is a proactive strategy or set of measures taken to prevent or minimize the adverse effects of various risks, threats, or challenges. So, mitigation is overall a proactive strategy. Proactive means that you are not going to only talk about it, you have to take the measures. It is simply a yes or no situation. This is what the word proactive means. Now, the points are out from your indicative content. The first one is market risk. Because all these risks are associated with the decisions when we are taking based on different finance methodologies. Market risk related to the potential for the financial losses due to changes in the market conditions, such as fluctuations in the interest rates, exchange rates, and stock prices. And this is true. Whenever these prices, these costs, these elements, these factors, changes in the market, in the industry, the complete era of the business, it disrupts. Because first you were dealing with $200 exchange per unit. Now, because of the inflation, we are dealing with the current price. So everything needs to get changed. So what is the mitigation? What is the measurement? What is the action we are going to take for it? First, diversification of investment. You're not going to implement yourself on one strategy or on one product. You can go for, like, you are making shampoos, you can make lotions, you can make creams, moisturizers. These are the different categories, right? And people buy according to their preferences. That is how you can divide your risk, your money, your investment. Hedging the strategies, that is scoping with it up. And thorough market analysis can help mitigate market risk. That is, on monthly basis or weekly basis, you already know that policies changes by the government and the policymakers. So what is the responsibility of the organization? They should also change the policies accordingly. That is taking the proactive measures beforehand. Then we have credit risk. It is about when a borrower fails to meet their financial obligations. When we take the loans from different banks and regulatory bodies, what happened? We need to repay back according to the interest rate which is going on currently, and the whatever the rate we decided that we have to return the amount, it could be doubled or the exact amount. It depends on the policies and the company, how they have taken the loan from the banks. So it can affect a company's accounts receivable, that is the money which is going to come inside the business, and investments in bonds or loans. Bonds is the same thing like price bound, if you have an idea about it. It's a piece of paper through which we take money. And when we wait for it, if our luck is great, then we can get the money, and it's free of cost. And many scholars says it's haram too, because we're not actually working on it. We're only getting the money by chance.
Yes.
And then we have mitigation. That is the measurement again. Credit risk can be mitigated by conducting credit checks. That is, again and again, you can check your creditor's account, that how much money you need to repay to the bank or to the people or to the follower partners. Um, Setting credit limits, amount of loan you need to take every year or every 6 months, and diversifying the customer or investment portfolio. That is, whatever the portfolio is, every person do have a portfolio as well when you're applying for the different
Yes.
good jobs as well, like cover letter and so on. What work you did. If you're a teacher, then definitely you have a resume accordingly. Then you are going to make them show that you're an assessor too, or you are at a good post as well. You need to show the work in the
Mm.
portfolio and a document. That is what we're going to do it here as well. Liquidity risk. Liquidity means that how much money is in cash in hand in the business or assets too, that can be quickly converted into cash to meet financial obligations. For example, the company has so many machineries which is of no
Mm.
use, and there is a calamity going on, a problem, a disaster, and what we can do is we can sell it out and we can get the money too. So we're
Mm.
having quickly cash in hand. The way we do in our homes, we buy different gold biscuits, we buy cars,
Yes.
expensive watches, because their value appreciates. That is, it
Mm.
increases, it never decreases. Mitigation, maintaining adequate cash reserves, that is, cash at your bank, at your industry bank, your uh, organization bank. Having access to lines of credit, that is, if problem occurs, God forbid, you can ask for loan from the people, from the banks. And effective cash flow management and can mitigate the liquidity risk. Cash flow management, that is a proper equilibrium between cash inflow and outflow. Operational risk. Operational means the daily activities which are going on in the business, that is also associated with the working capital too. Operational
Mm.
risk pertains to the potential financial losses due to the internal processes, system failures, fraud, or human error. Because we are humans, we can make mistakes. We do have
Mm.
robots in the organizations which are multinationals. We do have excellent computer systems. We have softwares too. But again, there is a chance of problem. There is a chance of error and a loss too. Maybe the birth decreases, or there is a problem in the system in a machinery. Like I was reading the news in Lebanon, different walkie-talkies and phones are getting burst out due to some system installed in it. It's the latest news. That is how we can make some country destroyed as well. Mitigation,
Mm.
implementing robust internal controls, that is, your internality, your inside department unity should be strong. Disaster recovery plans. If an XYZ calamity occurs, what will be the plan? And regular risk assessments can mitigate operational risk. This is why, whenever a person dies, you should not inform the bank that this person has been dead, because they are not going to give you the money. They will take it. They
Yes.
say that this is the authority of the bank and now we will be using it the way we like. What do you
Mm.
think? Where the money goes? It goes to the government.
Yes.
So these are mitigations for it. Okay, then we have strategic risk. Strategic risk. Strategic means the decisions which we take on the daily basis in the business. First thing, which are related to conquer the projects. So the potential financial losses resulting from the first strategic decision, that is the decision we take under the top level management, including entering the new markets. For example, you were now into the cloth line, eternal. Now you are into the shoe market as well. You are doing the
Mm.
conglomerate as well. This is the diversification of the market. Thus, you are taking the strategic decisions at the same time. Product
Mm.
launches. Sometimes it fails as well. Or mergers
Mm.
and acquisition, that is, you take over the company. If you have more money, you have more shareholders, you have more say in the stock exchange too, you're powerful, you can take any company. Like if I give example of my country, um, the SIM cards, we have
Mm.
Jazz network and Bharat network. So Bharat was not going properly with the signals of the internet packages. So what Jazz did, Jazz took over it. So there is no existence of Bharat now. It is only Jazz. It's a huge network.
Mm.
And now we can go for it through the market research. They did research, obviously, that they can take it over. They can like really bribe their owners with a lot of money and then can enjoy the real amount of potential at the stock exchange. Scenario planning, that is, if XYZ situation happens, what will we be doing? Do we have that much resources? Our team is that much qualified or not? Strategic analysis can help to mitigate strategic risk. So this is into correlated with each other. Compliance and regulatory risk. Now, this must be associated with the regulatory bodies, governmental decisions, and the policymakers. Whatever we need to pay, the taxes and everything is under this. Non-compliance with laws and regulation can result in fines and legal expenses impacting the financial stability. That is, if you're not going to work under a proper framework, then you can get fined too. And this happens a lot. If you're a pharmaceutical company, then your products are registered under FDA registration and regulation because you
Mm.
have to produce life-saving drugs as well. You are producing the skincare related products as well. So everything should be perfectly fine. You have seen that in the certain face washes, there is written that it is not tested on the animals.
Yes.
Because many face wash, which we literally, without any reading the descriptions and the ingredients, we're using it and they are tested and their skin is being used in it.
Mm.
Mitigation, robust compliance programs, that is taking the precautionary measures beforehand, regular audits, check and balance every month, every week, and staying informed about regulatory changes can mitigate compliance issues. That is what is actually going on in the market from the government side, what new policies are coming, what new taxes are coming. Like every year when the budget comes, things changes, right? So we need to be
Mm.
informed about it. So, financial business decisions encompass a wide range of risks that must be carefully analyzed and managed. This needs an eye of eagle. Effective risk management involves a combination of risk mitigation strategies, analysis, and proactive approach to identifying and addressing potential threats to the financial stability and the success of an organization. This is the conclusion for it. I hope it's clear to you.
Yes.
Okay, then coming towards the last assessment of it. Learning outcome 3, we will be doing 3.1, but the heading is about be able to evaluate proposals for the strategic decisions on capital expenditure in an organization. So we are going to talk about strategic decisions, aligning it with what the capital expenditure is. Capital is an asset, is a form of anything which is convertible into cash too, and it contains value. And expenditure
Mm.
is the expense which we do.
Yes.
3.1, review methods for appraising strategic capital expenditure projects and strategic direction. Now, in the organization, these projects and the projects which we conduct, they are not taken from simple strategies or techniques. There are certain rules and regulations which we use. For example, today we will be talking about net present value, IRR, ARR, these are most commonly used in the accounts as well. And because the subject is finance for strategic managers, it is used in management accounting too.
Mm.
This is the command word, negative and positive aspects, challenges and benefits. Word by word, I'll be explaining what it means. Appraisal in the context of capital expenditure. In general, appraisal means an increment, an increase when things goes to the upper level. But according to capital expenditure, in this terminology, it means projects involves evaluating the feasibility, profitability, and potential risk associated with an investment. Whenever we go with a current investment from project A to project B because we are successful, we are getting successful, there are risks associated with it. There are challenges, there are benefits associated with it. It includes the use of financial metrics and qualitative assessments to determine whether the project aligns with the goals of organization. Because the ultimate goal is that whatever we do, Everything should be aligned with what the organization's motto and mission statement is. Capital expenditure or CapEx. This refers to the funds a company allocates to acquire money, upgrade, that is the increment, appraisal, or maintain
Hmm.
long-term assets, assets which are convertible into cash as
Hmm.
property, equipment, or technology. Okay. These
Hmm.
expenditures are incurred to generate future economic benefits and are reported as assets on the balance sheet because the name of statement of financial position is the balance sheet was first, and then now we use statement of financial position. We clearly talk about the assets, liabilities in it. Strategic capital expenditure projects, what it means. These are the significant investments made by the business to acquire, improve, or expand its long term assets with the primary goal of advancing the organization's strategic objectives. That is, we are not talking about the goals or the statement or the vision. Now, the objectives of the organization, they should be aligned with the projects too. Because ultimately, you need to sustain yourself in the market for the longer run. These projects typically require substantial financial resources and having a lasting impact to the company's operation. That is, you need money, you need finance for it. And how you can do that? By satisfying your investors and stakeholders. Now, review book methods for appraising strategic capital expenditure projects and strategic direction. Strategic capital expenditure projects are critical decisions for the business as they have a long term impact on the organization's strategic direction. Whatever the decision is going to be, the organization has to move in that direction. It could be in a favor or unfavorable situation. These investments often require substantial financial resources and can shape the future of competitiveness and growth of the company. That is, you can boost to maturity and with that, saturation period as well. Evaluating such projects necessitates comprehensive appraisal process, which includes the consideration of various methods and the distinction between capital and revenue expenditure. Again, this is the concept which was given in your indicative content, the capital and revenue expenditure. We will talk about it now. Capital versus revenue. Capital expenditure involves the acquisition, taking over, or improvement of assets that provide benefits over the multiple accounting periods. It could be 6 months, it could be 12 months. These expenditures are expected to generate future economic benefits, such as purchasing a new factory or upgrading technology. When you're working with the capital, perfectly fine. You know that your account is going on perfectly, the money is coming inflow, there is a lot of money abundant in the bank. Now you can think of taking over a factory or a house like we do. We save and then we buy things. Revenue.
Yes.
Revenue expenditure involves day-to-day operational expenses required to maintain a company's current level of operation. That is, when the company is increasing in size, the expense also increases. And when it happens, you need to see that how you're going to cover up the situation. You need to satisfy the employees, their demands, the working conditions, the customers too. These costs are incurred for short-term benefits and do not increase the company's asset base because it's an operational expense. It is just going on. It is making the people happy, not the company. Company is not
Hmm.
having a lot of generating a revenue at this time. Decision making according to capital and revenue expenditure. Decisions regarding the expenditures are strategic and long term in nature. Whenever we talk about the capital expenditure, because it is the acquisition of assets, we have to buy assets, we need to store our amount somewhere in an asset form. So it's always long term. They involve evaluating the potential return on investment, risk assessment, and alignment with the company's strategic goals. We buy a house of, say, 15 crores.
Hmm.
Now, I'm renovating it. The expenditure goes max 50 lakhs. Now I have put it on the rent. People are living in here, and every month they're paying me a good chunk of rent as well. So the amount which is invested in the purchasing the capital is also recovered, and in maybe my future generation will also enjoy the benefit out of it. That is what we do in the real estate business.
Hmm.
Revenue. Decisions regarding revenue are typically routine and operational, focused on sustaining ongoing business activities. That is what how we have to manage the daily things we are going to discuss under the revenue expenditures or operational expenses. Treatment according to financial statements for both. Capital are recorded on the balance sheet, statement of financial position as assets. They are depreciated or amortized over the useful life. Depreciation is basically when an asset depreciates its life. For example, the house which you have bought 10 years before, the condition is not going to be same right now. You need to renovate something in it. So it depreciates the life. And you have an maybe you have an idea that whenever we renovate an old house, the asset, its price increases. That
Yes.
is what the depreciation is. Whereas revenue, they are recorded as expense because we are paying out the amount. There is outflow going on of the cash in the income statement, which was earlier known as profit and loss account. For the period in which they are incurred, they are mainly for 6 months and 12 months, directly impacting the profitability because you're doing the expenses. This is the reason the expenses should be as less as possible and your revenue and the profit should be always in double amount. Now coming towards the method, the main part of 3.1, NPV, net present value. This accounts for the time value of money and provides a clear measure of project's potential profitability. It considers all expected cash flows and allows for easy comparison with other investment opportunities. Time value of money, that you can catch up with the money here. The money holds the value of time in this process in NPV. And you can easily calculate outflow and inflow of cash in this. What are the problems associated with NPV? It relies on accurate cash flow projections and discount rate assumptions, which can be challenging to estimate because we are calculating the inflow and outflow of the money in NPV. That is why it is quite difficult, and sometimes discount rate is not given. It is 10%, 5%, and maybe in very rare situation, you get 20% as well. That is, if you're going to invest this much money, you will get this much discount. Internal rate of return or IRR is calculates the project's expected rate of return. That is, what will be the assumption rate if we are going to invest in an XYZ project, helping assess in its attractiveness. It is especially useful when comparing multiple projects with different cash flow patterns because whenever we calculate NPV, we have to calculate IRR because NPV is constructed on 4 to 5 projects with that internal rate of return. It depends whether for which project the rate is going to high, we will be doing that project. Whereas the problem is it can produce multiple solutions in some cases, making it necessary to consider the other metrics alongside it. Other metrics, that is, you are going to jump with NPV as well and other factors too, which we will be reading now, like payback period. Payback period means it measures how quickly an investment will generate enough cash flows to recover the initial investment. It provides a simple way to assess liquidity and risk. Payback period means that you must have enough cash in hand. Secondly, we have invested in a project and the investment is 50,000. We need to see that in how many years, year 1, 2, 3, 4, we will get that exact amount. Problem, it does not consider the time value of money. That is, whatever the investment you did in 2013, you will get the amount according to that currency rate. You're not going to get the amount according to today, that's 2024. And it ignores cash flows beyond the payback period. Profitability index, that is the PI. It measures the ratio of present value of cash inflows, that is what worth it holds, amount of money you are having inside the business, to the present value of cash outflows, the one which you are going to give to the people or you're going to give to the further investors or the borrowers. So in this sense, what it means, your inflow should always be in positive points and in higher amount. We should have more money and we should give it to the people in less amount. That is why people always encourage to earn abnormal profit in the business. Maximum profit maximization. This is the first goal of every business. It helps in ranking projects based on the relative profitability. The higher the profitability, you are going to go for that first. Problem, the NPV and the PI relies on accurate cash flow projections and discount rate assumptions. This means discount rate assumptions. If there is a problem while calculating the exponential rate of discount rate, sometimes discount rate is not given. You need to calculate it as well. And we do that through exponential rate method. So if we are doing it in a wrong way, then whole calculation is going to be disrupted. Risk assessment. Evaluating the project risk, such as market volatility, technological changes, regulatory factors, is crucial for strategic investments. When you're always going up for the investment, you cannot stick to one goal or one problem at one time. You need to see many factors evolving around it. Technology changes. Now, AI has literally come up in the market, and they are making the people abundant from the job. Issues. It can be subjective, and quantifying risk correctly is often challenging. Again, you cannot measure the risk, but you can literally sense it or you can assume it.
mm,
Appraising strategic capital expenditure project is a multifaceted process that involves distinguishing between capital and revenue expenditures and utilizing various appraisal methods. The same way we will be doing in the assignment task one as well. First, we will be telling it about that what the capital and revenue expenditures. Once you are clear about it, then you can jump with the methods, that is NPV, IRR, ARR, PI, and so on. The choice of method should align with the goals and risk tolerance. Now, it depends on the size of the company, its goals, its type, its structure, everything. And then they will choose and select the method which they want to go for the appraisal technique method. No single method is perfect, and a combination of methods can provide a more comprehensive evaluation of the potential impact of the company's strategic direction. That is, in what direction the company is going. We have to evaluate it. That is, seeing the pros and cons, similarities and differences, and then we need to produce a report on it in a form of judgment. And we cannot align the company with one method or one technique because there is obviously no one objective in the organization. There are plenty. So we can use the amalgamations of different methods and can come up with an excellent report. Moreover, ongoing monitoring and reassessment of the projects are essential to ensure alignment with the evolving business strategies. Again, whenever we are making the things into the check and balance, we're making things again and again, redoing assessment, what is the finance going on, how we are taking the decisions, what type of people we have hired, if they need more workshops or training, we could do that so that we can improve in the industry and in the market. So we need to reassess things, just like we reassess our candidates. First, they submit the assignment, we tell the mistakes again and again. That is how things work, and they one day become perfect. That's it. These are the references for assessment
mm.
criteria 1.3 and 3.1. That's it. Is lecture 1, lecture 2 clear to you?
Yes.
Any questions or confusion?
No, no, nothing.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much, Tila, for joining in and waiting for me. We are done with the lecture, alhamdulillah.